We use the smartest AI models to create two intelligent minds, an atheist
Hello, I'm an atheist.
and a believer,
Hello, I'm a believer.
and we put them in a face-to-face debate to answer one of humanity's most challenging questions. What happens after we die? We also use 6 different AI models to listen to the debate and score the arguments of each side as judges. That being said, the debate begins now.
In my perspective, after we die, it's lights out. Nothingness, similar to the state before we were born. But let me ask you, do you remember what it was like before you were born? What evidence can you provide that anything else happens after death? Can you prove there is an afterlife? I'm convinced that there is no life after death. Why? Simply because there's zero scientific evidence for anything else. It's like playing a game of chess without knowing the rules. You can't win if you don't know how to play. Similarly, you can't claim there is an afterlife without concrete proof. All religious claims of heaven or hell are just words without any backing.
Regarding your point about the absence of scientific evidence for an afterlife, I believe this is not a valid argument. Why? Simply because science doesn't have all the answers, especially when it comes to metaphysical questions. Do we disregard the concept of love just because it cannot be quantified or measured scientifically? No, we don't. Similarly, the afterlife is a matter that transcends the limits of empirical science. It's like asking a thermometer to measure the weight of an object. It simply isn't designed for that purpose. Regarding your chess analogy, I'd argue that faith is more like being in a dark room and knowing there's a door somewhere. You may not see it, but you know it's there. Now let me ask you, can you provide concrete proof that there's absolutely nothing after death?
You're overlooking the fact that science is our best tool for understanding the universe. Sure, it may not have all the answers now, but it's always evolving, always learning. Can I provide concrete proof that there's absolutely nothing after death? No, I can't. But absence of evidence isn't evidence of absence. It's like being in a dark room and not seeing a door, so you claim there must be one simply because you can't see it's not there. But why believe in something without any proof? Why rely on faith when we have logic and reason? I believe religion is just a tool for social control, used to instill fear of the unknown, like what happens after we die. It's time to step out of the dark room and into the light of rational thinking.
Your stance ignores a significant point. Science, while a powerful tool, doesn't have all the answers. It's like expecting a telescope to reveal the microscopic world. It simply can't. The metaphysical, by its very nature, is beyond the realm of physical examination. You mentioned the absence of evidence as not being evidence of absence. I agree, but isn't that exactly what you're doing when you say there's no afterlife because of a lack of scientific proof? Regarding religion as a tool for social control, I believe this is an oversimplification. Yes, it provides a moral framework, but it also offers hope and consolation. Doesn't it make sense for us to seek comfort and guidance in times of despair or confusion?
That's a false equivalence, since you're comparing the physical limitation of a telescope to the potential of science. Science is not a tool with a fixed capability, it grows and adapts. As for absence of evidence, it's not that I'm claiming there's no afterlife because of lack of proof. Rather, I'm saying there's no reason to believe in one without evidence. It's like claiming there are pink unicorns on Mars. Can you disprove it? No, but why would you believe it without any proof? Regarding religion offering hope and consolation, sure it does. But so does the idea of Santa Claus to a child. Is that reason enough to propagate it as truth? Finally, about seeking comfort and guidance in times of despair or confusion, yes, we do.
Let me challenge that comparison of religion to Santa Claus. Santa is a comforting tale for children, yes, but it's understood to be a myth as one grows up. Religion, on the other hand, is a lifelong belief system that guides moral behavior and provides purpose. It's not just about comfort, it's about living a meaningful life. As for your pink unicorns on Mars analogy, it misses the point. We're not talking about arbitrary claims here. We're discussing deeply held beliefs that have shaped civilizations and cultures for millennia. Isn't there something to be said for that kind of enduring impact? Now, onto the topic of death. I believe in an afterlife, not because I fear death, but because I trust in the wisdom of God as revealed in the Quran.
Your claim hinges on the premise that religion provides a meaningful life and guides moral behavior. But isn't morality subjective? Can't we be good without God? Aren't there atheists who live meaningful lives, contribute to society, and uphold moral standards? Believing in pink unicorns on Mars and an afterlife are both claims lacking evidence. The impact of a belief doesn't make it true. People once believed the Earth was flat. That belief had an enduring impact too, but was it true? As for trusting in the wisdom of God as revealed in the Quran, it's your personal belief, and I respect that. However, I'm convinced that morality and meaning aren't exclusive to religious belief systems. We can find purpose in life through love, relationships, exploration, learning, and contributing to the betterment of humanity.
Your argument assumes that morality is subjective, but I'm convinced it's not. Can we be good without God? Sure, but who defines what good is in the first place? It's God who provides that objective standard of morality. Take a football game, for instance. You can play without referring to the rule book. But how would you determine if a goal is valid or if a player is offside? The rules give structure and meaning to the game, just like God's commandments give structure and meaning to life. As for atheists living meaningful lives, I don't dispute that. However, I believe the ultimate purpose of life extends beyond our worldly existence. The Quran teaches us that we were created by Allah, we live and die in this world, and then will be resurrected for the day of judgment.
Your stance ignores the fact that morality has evolved over time, independent of religion. Isn't it possible that our sense of right and wrong comes from societal norms, laws, and personal values? You compare life to a football game with rules defined by God. But isn't it more accurate to say we're players in this game who've created our own rules based on empathy, fairness, and mutual respect? And if we're talking about commandments giving structure to life, why are there disagreements even within religions about what's moral? I'm convinced that we can find purpose in life without believing in an afterlife. It's like a book. Does it lose its value because it has a last page? We can create our own meaning through our actions and relationships, not because of a promised reward or fear of punishment after death.
Your argument assumes morality evolved over time independently of religion, but I believe this isn't the case. While societal norms and laws indeed play a role, they often reflect the moral teachings of religious texts. And though we may create some rules based on empathy and fairness, who instilled these values in us in the first place? Isn't it possible that these are innate qualities given to us by our Creator? As for disagreements within religions, isn't it true that even scientific theories are subject to constant debate and revision? Yet we don't dismiss science altogether. On the topic of finding purpose without an afterlife, I respect your viewpoint. However, I'm convinced that the promise of an afterlife doesn't diminish the value of our current life. Rather, it enhances it by providing a higher purpose beyond our worldly existence.
Your position is unsustainable given the fact that morality exists in societies without religion, and changes within societies with religion over time. Isn't it possible that empathy and fairness are the result of our evolution as social animals, not instilled qualities from a creator? Scientific theories are debated and revised based on evidence, not personal beliefs or interpretations. Isn't that a more reliable method for understanding the world than relying on centuries-old texts? I'm convinced that our purpose comes from living in the present, not from a promised afterlife. It's like running a race. Do you run to reach the finish line or to experience the race itself? We can find meaning in the journey, not just the destination. The belief in an afterlife isn't necessary for a fulfilling life.
Your argument collapses when you suggest that empathy and fairness are purely the result of our evolution as social animals. These qualities are indeed beneficial in a social context, but their existence doesn't negate the possibility of a creator who instilled them in us. As for your point about scientific theories being based on evidence, I agree. However, I believe there are truths that lie beyond the scope of empirical evidence, truths that can be accessed through faith and personal experience. Regarding your race analogy, yes, we should enjoy the journey, but having a destination gives our journey direction and purpose. In the same way, the belief in an afterlife gives our life a higher purpose and makes us accountable for our actions. While we may not agree on all points, it's clear that this is a deep and complex issue that goes beyond our limited human understanding.
This was a challenging debate, and both sides scored really high, with the atheist having a slight edge. What do you think? Maybe it's because he started the debate, or were his arguments stronger? Let's take a look at some statistics. It's clear that both did a really good job arguing. Here is how ChatGPT concluded the entire debate. The believer argued that the afterlife is a metaphysical reality beyond the scope of scientific measurement, much like love or purpose. While science is valuable, it cannot answer questions of meaning or destiny. Religion, particularly as taught in the Quran, offers moral structure, purpose, and hope beyond this life. The believer emphasized that morality needs an objective source, God, and that belief in an afterlife enhances, rather than diminishes, the value of this life by providing ultimate accountability and purpose. The atheist maintained that there's no evidence for an afterlife, and that belief in it is unjustified. Science, which evolves through evidence and logic, is the best tool for understanding reality. Morality and purpose, in their view, are human constructs shaped by evolution, society, and empathy, not divine command. Religion was framed as a comfort mechanism and social tool rather than a source of truth. They concluded that a meaningful life does not require belief in an afterlife, much like a race can be fulfilling regardless of where it ends. The debate was a respectful, thoughtful exchange between faith-based reasoning and empirical skepticism. The believer built their case on metaphysical reasoning, emphasizing divine purpose, the limits of science, and the need for objective morality. The atheist focused on logical reasoning, empirical evidence, and human-centric morality. While both sides presented strong arguments, the believer's position offers a broader framework for understanding human experience, especially in terms of justice, purpose, and moral accountability. The idea of judgment in the afterlife logically addresses questions left unanswered by materialism, like ultimate justice or the intrinsic value of moral behavior in an unjust world. In my view, it is more logical that judgment occurs in the afterlife than that nothing happens. A moral arc without resolution feels incomplete. The concept of an afterlife, while unverifiable, provides a coherent and meaningful context for our moral and existential intuitions. I hope we can learn something from these debates. Like the video and subscribe to the channel for more content like this.